Welcome to Living Life in the End for the Successful and Fulfilled Woman. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, the Liberated Lawyer. I help women to get everything they desire in life by equipping them with powerful strategies to achieve the fulfillment they desire and deserve. Who said you can't have it all? Clearly, they did not know about living life in the end. When women make powerful decisions and create great strategies, they can have everything they desire in life. Girlfriend, forget about choosing between being successful or fulfilled. You can be successful and fulfilled. It's time. It's time for you to get everything you desire and deserve. It's time for you to live your life on purpose. It's time for you to live a life that is fulfilled, meaningful, and full of joy. It's time for you to walk boldly in the power of your decisions. If you are going to be in this world, you need to be fulfilled in this life. Life is too long to be unfulfilled. Join me for another episode of Living Life in the End, where you learn how to live fulfilled, fit, and free. This episode was brought to you by the Successful and Fulfilled Woman New You Transformation, a VIP day for the high-achieving woman who is ready to be successful and fulfilled. If you are a woman who feels burned out and uninspired, or you are a woman ready to start over after a divorce, death, or other disruption, or you are a mother whose children are ready to leave the nest or are already gone, and you are now ready to create a meaningful life for yourself, or you are a woman who's approaching your golden years and you want the next half to be the best half, or you are a woman who's ready to get more out of life and ready to stop marking time and start living life, then we need to have a revelation conversation. Go to www.everythingideserve.com to schedule your complimentary revelation conversation, where together we will talk about where you are now and where you want to be, and begin to develop a plan to get you where you desire to be. You will leave your revelation conversation understanding the first thing that you can start doing today to begin living a successful and fulfilled life. Hey, it's time for a musing from the mind of Dr. SDB, where I share poignant thoughts to help you live your life in the end. Girl, I've got something on my mind. It has never been more eloquently spoken than when UGK proclaimed top-notched women get the most, not the lesser. Now, they said top-notch hoes, but we ain't finna call another woman a hoe. But lest I digress, I love that line and always reflect on how important it is to embrace and recognize that I deserve the most, not the lesser. And even more eloquently stated is this: you will never get more if you always accept less. Period. You will never get more if you always accept less. And I remember back in 2021 when God blessed me with a home in East Atlanta to receive the harvest of my new life, and that this home was my home came to me in a meditation one morning. I had been looking at 50 million listings, and I had decided on a townhome in East Atlanta. But every time I went to look at that townhome, I kept coming back to this listing. And I had decided to go with the townhome in East Atlanta. It was cute. It was brand new construction, really great neighborhood. But there was no room for my bottle tree and barely room for my artwork and antiques and baby grand piano. And I figured out, well, I can make do. I can make it work. But my spirit kept telling me, girl, we are not in a season of making it work. We're in a season of getting everything we desire and deserve. Why are we going to compromise? And I'm like, yeah, spirit, you're right. You're right. And so, because I had proclaimed that I deserve to get everything I desire and deserve, and that I am committed to getting everything I desire and deserve, I could not settle on a townhome that was not what I desired. And I reached out to my realtor and I said, before we go and sign the contract, because I was ready to sign the contract. And just by fate, the the I guess manager or whatever of the townhome didn't email the contract on Saturday. She emailed it on Sunday, and I had my little meditation moment Sunday morning. I was like, before I sign this contract, I just need to go look at this other listing. And so we did. And I remember I pulled up into the driveway, and the first thing I saw was a magnolia tree. And magnolia trees are very symbolic to me. And I looked at that magnolia tree and looked at the stairs going down into the backyard. And I just knew, oh my gosh, this is my home. And God blessed me to be able to get this home. And I have been planted in a place where love will grow. And that decision was very pivotal for me because it was the beginning of me entering a season and truly entering into that season of not settling for less when I deserve more. And so that's what I want to share with you today and encourage you to get the most, not the lesser. It's that simple, yet complex. And it's simple in that why on earth would anyone choose less when they could have more? But it's complex because so many times that's what we do. And the first thing that we have to realize is that getting more requires letting go of less. Getting more requires letting go of less. Now, I know when you first hear that, you're like, okay, that don't really make sense. If I'm getting rid of less, doesn't that mean I'm holding on to things? And Yeah, you are holding on to things, but the things and people and experiences and compensation and jobs and situations that you're holding on to represent less. And less in this instance is a noun that represents anything, any person, any situation, any compensation, any relationship, any experience that is less than what you desire and deserve. And so when you hold on to less, you leave no room for more. And you have to embrace and commit to the notion and the decision that if I am going to get more out of life, I have to let go of less. I have to let go of the relationship that is toxic and draining me and pouring negativity into my spirit. I have to let go of the friends who are not really friends, but they're enemies disguised as friends who tell me I'm not enough and make me feel bad about myself and are always comparing me to them and making me, or I am allowing them to feel bad about myself, allowing them to let you feel bad about yourself, make you feel bad about yourself. I have to let go of this commitment to living this lifestyle that's draining my bank account instead of committing to a lifestyle that allows me to grow my bank account. So, you have to make a decision about what you're going to let go of, and it's important to let go of less, which requires number 2 for you to recognize less when you see it. And the thing is, you know it's less. You know it's less because immediately when you see it, when you experience it, when you enter it, when you go next to it, when it comes into your space, your spirit tells you. You feel some kind of way. You say, mm. You may never verbalize it, but you feel it. And that's another thing, that if you are going to get more out of life, you have to learn to listen to yourself tell you, don't do that. Don't enter into that relationship. Don't stay in that relationship. Don't call him back. Don't take that job. Don't, you know, your body, your spirit, you are wise to what you desire and deserve. And we have to learn to listen to ourselves when we tell us this is not what you want. Because anytime you experience hesitation, and I'm not talking about purposeful pauses, because purposeful pauses give you the opportunity to weigh things and give you an opportunity to be deliberate, to be mindful and deliberate. But I'm talking about that hesitation to where you're moving, but you literally feel the resistance in your experience, the resistance in your spirit telling you, don't do it, Miss Seeley, don't do it. We need to start listening to that voice that tells us every single time. Because I know that for me, when I look back over my life and am honest about when I have entertained less, there has never been an instance when I didn't know it was less at the beginning. Every single time. And I would romanticize it, and I would try to give the benefit of the doubt. I would, I'll make do. Oh, this is only, I would do all the hemming and hawing, but I knew without a doubt that I was entertaining less. And so we have to learn, and this is the third part here, you have to walk away from less every time. Every time when we see less, when we feel less, when we experience less, when we know less, when we look less in the eyes, when less text us, when we walk past less, when we walk into, every single time we got to say, no. Because here's the truth that we must accept. When you entertain less, you take up room for more. And I want you to really listen to that and really take that to heart, because if less is sitting up in your house, more has no space to come in. If less is sitting in your heart, if less is taking out all the money out your bank account, you don't have resources, energy, time for more. So just imagine this. I'm going to give you an analogy because I like analogies. Let's just say you go to your favorite restaurant and you have been wanting this favorite restaurant, wanting to go to this favorite restaurant. They have your favorite meal, your favorite server, and everything. But you walk up to the door and every seat is filled, or at least it seems. Every seat is filled. And not only is every seat filled, but it's filled with people that you don't necessarily want to be around. 9 times out of 10, you're going to leave that restaurant because it looks like there's no room for you. The same thing happens in your life, your perfect opportunity, your perfect friend, your perfect, and I use perfect in a um, a way to just describe the opportunity that you've been waiting for wants to come in your life. But every time they look at your life, they see less taking up all the seats, taking up all the space, and they don't even try to enter. Or you may try to invite the opportunity in, but again, there's no space. So we have to learn to walk away from less. And remember, when we entertain less, we rob ourselves of the opportunity of experiencing more. And I give you an example of this. I had an opportunity to, well, I've been working at a place and there were opportunities for me to grow, limited opportunities, but it was not the best environment for me for a number of reasons. I made okay money, but I was underpaid. Let's just be honest. I was underpaid. And I made a decision that if I'm going to work, if I'm going to expend my energy, I want to be paid the value of what I am giving. I don't believe in accepting less when I can earn more. And I started looking for other opportunities, and eventually I found one. And I found an opportunity that gave me a little bit more professional freedom. I didn't know if it would be a long term opportunity, but I knew it was better than where I was. And I knew that it was a step in the right direction. And so I gave my resignation. And then I was presented with a counteroffer. And the counteroffer was not as much as the new opportunity, but more than what I had been paying. And kind of my first thing was, well, why didn't y'all get this to me in the first place? If you knew that this was my value, why were you underpaying me? So that was thing number one. And thing number two is, why would I entertain less money? And money isn't everything. Money isn't everything, but money is important. And so I really thought about it from the perspective of, what am I leaving on the table and what do I get in exchange? Because there are some instances where, in order to get where you need to go next, you may take an opportunity that doesn't pay as much as you'd like, but it gives you experience that will give you an opportunity to do something and make that money up when you move to your next opportunity. But I'm like, this ain't even that. I'm just going to be paid less. I will accept less. And I thought, literally, you may think this is funny, but I really thought about UGK. Top notch women get the most, not the less. And I said, I want to be top notch. I am top notch. So I am not going to accept less when I have an opportunity to receive more. And I'm grateful that I did that. I'm grateful that I took that opportunity, because not only did I open my life up to receive more, I really changed the trajectory of my career and gave myself the opportunity to progress even further and get into a job that paid more than the second opportunity, but also was more fulfilling. And so that's the thing that we have to think about, is sometimes, yeah, we have to take a chance, because it was a chance. There was a chance that I would go with this new opportunity and hate it. But I was thinking, and eventually that is what happened. I went to the new opportunity. The first 3 months were great. I loved it. And it was work that wasn't necessarily the most challenging. It was not the highest and best use of my talents, but I enjoyed it. It was okay. I enjoyed it. And it gave me just some freedoms in other ways. And then I got a second assignment that I literally hated. I hated. And I am of the belief that if I'm going to be here, I need to be fulfilled. I need to feel meaningful. And I always need to be in a space where I can grow. And the second part of that assignment was doing an area of law I really hated. I really hated it. And I'm like, I'm making some really good money, but I hate this. And I don't want to wake up every day and be miserable. I can't do this. I can't. And it was a 12-month assignment. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't apologize about it. But 3 months into it, I left because I was able to find an opportunity that checked all the boxes. More money, and I loved it. It was a great opportunity to really stretch myself and to really do something I enjoyed. And that's another thing is that, we can't be apologetic for wanting more for ourselves. And even though I know the assignment that I was given they were a little pissed with me that I left 3 months into a 12-month assignment. But I'm like, you know what? Y'all gonna be all right when Jesus comes, because I'm not going to sacrifice myself, my joy, my career just to fulfill an obligation to somebody else, because they found somebody else. And that person, I hope they still there and I hope they enjoy it. But that wasn't my responsibility. My responsibility was to do my job the best that I could until it was time for me to leave. And I didn't leave them in the lurch. I could have just bolted, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to work this to the end of the month. Instead of giving them a 2 week notice, I think I gave them a 3.5, so that they could find someone else and I could start my new job, and not have any major issues. But I just wanted to illustrate just some of the machinations we go through in our minds about doing what's best for us. Because in both of those situations, yes, it was going to create an inconvenience of them having to replace me. And in both instances, they replaced me. They didn't replace me because, ain't but one Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, but they were able to fill the position. But had I not been committed to doing what was really best for me and positioning myself for growth, and not discounting the importance of joy, because we've got to make money, right? We got to work. Either we work for somebody else or we have our own business or something. You've got to generate money, unless you living off the grid somewhere and you're a pioneer and planting your own food and making your own fire and all that. You got to make money. But there's no rule that says you must be miserable and make money. And not every job is your purpose, but you ought to be able to have some purpose in every job that you do. And some jobs for us, their purpose is to allow us to give us the revenue we need to have joy in other areas. And if we're really lucky, they're one and the same. What you're doing to make money is also something that makes you happy. And I always try to blend those things. And the importance of recognizing that you deserve to be happy. And sometimes being happy, getting more, giving up less, literally giving up less, in this instance, less money, requires you to take a chance. It requires you to take a risk. And the bigger risk of changing and trying for more, going for more, getting more, the bigger risk is accepting less and robbing yourself of joy and robbing yourself of time. Because we have to be honest, when we accept less, it takes time. And we don't know how much time we have left. So why would we entertain less when we could go for more? So I want to close out with sharing like 3 ways that you can avoid accepting less. It requires a conscious effort. It requires intentionality. It requires you being mindful and deliberate. So the first thing that you have to do is really be specific and define, what does more mean for you? What does more mean for you? Because if you don't really know what more represents in your life, you will always default to less. So be really honest. What does more mean to you? Does it mean more money? Does it mean more love? Does it mean more joy? Does it mean more health? Whatever it is. And it's not exclusive to one area of your life. You deserve more in all areas. Let's be clear about that. So that's the first thing, is define what more means for you. And then the second thing is to always ask yourself, if the choice that is before you, does this choice get you closer to more? And ask yourself, literally, if I accept this job, if I date this man, if I become friends with this woman, if I go to this place, does this get me closer to more? Because you've defined it. So it's not an abstract. It's something that you've defined. And if the answer is no, then that means what you are thinking about is less, and you need to tell it no. So always ask yourself the question, does this get me closer to more? Am I getting closer to more? And if the answer is no, then that means you're accepting less. And the third thing, and I've alluded to this earlier, is you've always got to listen to how you feel when you're faced with that decision. Because less has a feeling. It is a panging of your soul. It is, I know how less feels. There is a certain way that I feel in my spirit. And every time when I feel that, it is when I am experiencing less. And the more seasoned I've become, the more wise I've become, and the more committed I've become to being fulfilled, I listen to that feeling and respond accordingly. Because it's not good enough to just listen to it. But when you feel it, recognize you're about to experience less and make a decision that gets you closer to more. And just remember, like UGK say, you deserve the most, not the lesser. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another musing from the mind of Dr. SDB, where I share poignant thoughts that help you live your life in the end. I hope you learned something. I hope you felt something. But girl, most of all, I hope you do something. Fulfillment won't happen because you desire it. It will happen because you decide to go get it. Let's get it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Living Life in the And for the Successful and Fulfilled Woman. Please be sure to let me know what made you feel something, what you learned, and what moved you to action. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on a great conversation. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast and let me know how you are living life in the end. Life is too long to be unfulfilled. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Tell someone else to listen for themselves. We should all be fulfilled. Remember, your life is the product of your choices. Choose to commit to bringing the desires of your heart to completion. You don't get what you deserve until you get what you decide. Life is too long to be unfulfilled.